Kate Winslet reteaming with her Mayor of Easttown buddies HBO to bring you an unhinged political satire. Let's talk about the regime. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for the miniseries The Regime. This is streaming now on Max. This aired on HBO proper a few months ago. But with the Emmys coming up, I thought let's take a look at some of these Emmy nominated series, and I actually thought this one was Emmy nominated, just because Kate Winslet, she always gets every award and all of this, and Mayor of Easttown obviously was such an awards darling, but and after watching it, I'm actually surprised she didn't get a leading actress in a miniseries nomination, but she did not. It got like a technical nomination, I think in editing or something, but no major Emmys here, so all right. But look, I'm still catching up on stuff from earlier in the year, so time to hit this one regardless. And before we launch into the specifics here, let me welcome you back to Dan Reviews It. If you are one of my subscribers already, thank you so much. Love having you aboard. And if you're not, please consider subscribing or even click that notification bell so you get all my alerts for when I drop new videos. But like this video, comment below, all that stuff, of course, also does help out the channel. All right, so Kate Winslet, look, I loved Mayor of Easttown. Who didn't? One of the best shows of a couple of years ago. And so, look, this is cool. It's her return to HBO. And she's got some HBO regulars with her as well. Hugh Grant has a pretty small role in this. I think it might even only be in the one episode. But, he's done several at this point miniseries for HBO. He had that one with Nicole Kidman. And then The Staircase, I think, was a different one. But yeah, all sort of in that mystery drama kind of vein, maybe a little thriller. But anyway, this is this show's all over the place. It is I called it in the top an unhinged political satire. It is certainly that, but it's a little bit of a thriller. It's a little bit dramatic, but it really goes in a lot of different directions. We'll get there momentarily, but first let's continue on with the cast. So Martha Plimpton also has a small role here. Love her. I think she's only in episode 3. But we've been watching her forever. I love her. Matthias Schoenaerts, who I knew actually from name more than his work, just because it's such a cool name, Schoenaerts. But he is in this movie Rust and Bone from a few years ago that was great. He was also in Red Sparrow with Jennifer Lawrence. So he's done a few things you may have seen. And then Andrea Riseborough, who was Oscar nominated a couple of years ago for a movie called To Leslie. That was generated a lot of controversy that she was nominated, because she didn't go the traditional routes of campaigning and whatnot, whatever. But she has a supporting role here as well. And then Guillaume Gallienne, who I'm kind of unfamiliar with. But so this is 6 episodes. And I watched the whole thing for this because it was so, the first episode was definitely interesting. But boy, if you compare the first episode to the last episode, the tones are completely different. But the premise is Winslet plays this dictator called Elena Vernum, who is ruling over a Central European country. I'm not even sure if it's actually named here. It may be named in passing at some points, but it's fictional regardless. So they're not, necessarily attacking any specific, country with this political satire. But they made up a country or whatever, and she is the dictator, and she is. Whoo, she's a wackadoo. She has a lot of mental problems, and they are on full display. Some of them are real, and some of them really are just kind of, presented to her, because, there are some people trying to, pull those strings a little bit from behind the scenes once they get into her trusted circle type of thing. And so Matthias Schoenaerts plays this dude who, in the first episode, you think maybe he's kind of her confidant, and then she ends up, smacking him at a party and saying, look, know your place and this and that. He gets sort of bussed down in the ranks and told he will never even speak to her again. And then by the end of the first episode, he ends up kind of saving her life. Somebody breaks in to the palace. So it's kind of all I'll say, really, plot-wise, because then we're getting into specific episode plot details. I don't want to do that, but yeah, I mean, if you take the first one or two episodes of this, compare them to the last two, I mean, it's just a different show entirely. And I like both of them sort of for their own merits, but as a cohesive unit, it just didn't really work. So the first episode is definitely more lighthearted, and she is showing this power, but then we go behind the scenes and we see, oh, okay, she really is spiraling here. She doesn't know who she even is or what's going on or anything. And there's a multitude of factors for that, but then as we sort of move along and the plots continue, like I said, Martha Plimpton's in episode 3, Hugh Grant's in episode 4, so each episode kind of has its own not its own tone necessarily, but each episode definitely has its own distinct sort of like I don't want to keep saying tone, but yeah, like, I mean, each one has sort of its own individuality. Let's call it that. Because it's not even just the specific plot, because it is definitely a through line through the whole 6 episodes for, the overarching themes and plot. And Kate Winslet, look, she can do comedy. We've seen this. In fact, another HBO show, Extras with Ricky Gervais. This is going back at this point, maybe 15 or 16 years, but but she was great in that, and I think maybe the scene was improvised. I'm not sure if I'm remembering that right, but look, Kate Winslet, she is very adept at many different things in comedy. Certainly she can do. But here the comedy is so broad in these first couple of episodes that once we really dive into the characters and sort of the themes of trying to overthrow the dictatorship and all of that is really just lost. And is she sort of, growing as a person and realizing who she can trust and who she can't? Sure. Her character is developing in that way, but it all seems very quick for someone who has sort of held this position of authority for so long. So I think the show is very much at odds with itself in terms of the, satirical, jokey nature of it. And look, you could certainly, I guess, make some comparisons to some of the things going on politically in the U.S. right now with the election coming up and stuff. So, is that maybe part of their angle? Maybe, but it's not overt enough to really matter. If you're looking for it, sure, you can probably find it. But the satire, I thought, was more based around just some of the world cultures and some of the world governments that we have. I didn't think it was specific to anything going on in the U.S. right now. Yes, you could draw some parallels, but I really didn't. I was kind of looking for them though, because I knew I would sort of have be reviewing it and look at all the angles, but that didn't really pass muster for me. But the political satire, and the humor goes almost completely away by like the 4th and 5th episodes. Once we start talking about overthrowing and everything, it's a completely different show. So look, overall, this is a middling grade for sure. Kate Winslet brings it above for me. Because she is Kate Winslet. It's another knockout performance. And I will say, I don't think I've seen all of the Emmy nominees for Best Lead Actress in a miniseries so far. In the next couple of weeks, I'll have to tackle those. But I am surprised Winslet did not get at least nominated for this, because she really goes all in 100% with it. But for the show, I leave The Regime with a C+. There's enough intrigue here, but boy, it really didn't quite know what it wanted to be. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It, and I'll see you next time.